He's known for his unwavering commitment to social work and philanthropy. He holds 4 Guinness World Records, the most recent one being in January this year for donation of most personal hygiene products in 1 hour. He's often been described as the driving force behind Udaipur's development. Joining us now is Lakshyaraj Singh Mewar. Thank you so much, Lakshyaraj, for joining us.
Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Tell me your commitment to social work, whether it's planting trees, educating the girl child, working with them, speaking to them about hand hygiene, menstrual hygiene, working with the indigenous and the vulnerable population. Tell me what really inspires you.
I think the one thing that I have to say very, very honestly that has inspired me is a formula that I came across as I was working on all these different and various projects. A formula that it's called and created called the GGGN formula, which basically stands for greatest good, greatest number. So the idea is that whenever you're doing anything in life, it has to be for the greatest good, and the ability and the entire thought process is behind to making sure that it's for the greatest number as well. So that is what the aspiration is for two things, for the greatest good and for the greatest number.
So when you say greatest good, you of course you've been awarded this so much recognition and number as well. But and you've been doing it for years now, right? But tell me, during the COVID-19, it's been a very challenging time, very difficult out there. But you've been out there, helping your people in Udaipur. What were the challenges you really faced at this point?
I think the fact that the whole experience in terms of connectivity, getting in touch with people, mindset has been a complete eye-opener, and one can always say that one has been living here all their life, but sometimes your backyard does tend to amaze you, surprise you, throw different challenges at you, which I think are good and bad both. But I think coming out victorious at the end of it, seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, being able to help people in this process has been, I think, a greatest experience and a lot of learning being around our region, our areas. And one is really happy to say that the help that came in for all the various projects, specifically during the COVID-19 times, came over from across the country. And the fact that the faith and trust that people had for it being delivered to the right people and the end user, that was the greatest confidence and the motivator in this process.
Lakshyaraj, actually, on the Banega Swasth India Season 8, we're also going to be talking about one health, one planet, and one future. At the end of the day, we are all connected. What do you think? We do need to look at this holistically?
Absolutely. I think certain tiring situations or calamities have forced us to go beyond geographical boundaries, something that we have been as a culture for thousands and thousands of years believing in. Now, this is something that is going out and becoming a global phenomena, a global philosophy where we are considering that the entire universe is our family now. And that has been exhibited really, really well by our country. And the other countries are also following that same thought process, that same footstep, which is really, really nice to be able to see.
Like you so beautifully said, putting that hand out there to help those who really need it at this point. Also, very important focus of our campaign is leaving no one behind. Especially, reaching out to the vulnerable people, to the indigenous, LGBTQ. There's so many people out there, even for that matter, when we're talking about the COVID-19 pandemic, it's got a lot to do with zoonotics. We see so many of these diseases. What are your thoughts on this?
I really couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, we have to look out for the voiceless as well. It's not really something that I say. Everybody is helped as much as they can. And I think this is not something that one can quantify, or rather one should even try to quantify. And there were two approaches that the universe had. One was to react to something and the other was to respond to something. And I'm glad that the universe chose to respond to things rather than react to things. And I'm really, really happy to say that in Udaipur, one was really happy that the local police force, the Rajasthan police force, came and joined hands with me and helped us to be able to reach raw material, not only to humans, but to also the stray dogs and stray animals on the streets of Udaipur. So through your medium, I'd like to thank them for coming out there and to be able to reach out to the needy, and thousands and thousands and thousands of kgs of raw material was reached out to the people as well as the voiceless as well on the street. So that was something which was very heartwarming. The city really came together in it. People really kind of took up to it. And then around the colonies, in their areas also started to do that selfless service. So it's interesting to see how that impact of positivity extends and goes right around as well. So a journey of 1,000 miles does begin with the first step, but I think and opens up many other doors.
Lakshyaraj, you've also, done some great work for the environment. I mean, besides tree plantation, of recognition for that, environment also we have realized after COVID that we do need to take care of the environment, because at the end of the day, we're, again, like I said, we're connected.
Correct, absolutely. So I think the fact that people were locked up in their homes, even if they had or didn't have opportunities or options, to be able to go and buy a pot, to be able to nurture your own space or your lawn, or to be able to look after certain things. I think the fact that the connectivity back with mud and back with nature, be it with children or yourself, was something that was a great awakening for people as well.
The royal family of Mewar has supported many causes, and education is one. I mean, over 150 years ago, your family started girls' school, way back then. So you do, what are your thoughts on education? Because still, I mean, when we talk about it, for many girls, they are left behind. So when we're talking about leaving no one behind, and education plays a key role in development of any country.
Absolutely. So I'm glad that you brought this up. Otherwise, the entire concept is the fact that people in pre-independent India were not wanting to, educate girls, leave them behind. This is one such opportunity and platform for a lot of people and for a lot of years to clear that myth in their mind. So that was not the case. The girls' school that you're referring to, called the Shambhu Pathshala in Udaipur, was opened and way back in 1864. So this was a long time before India got independent, and people of this area were absolutely pro education, bringing the girl child out in the forefront, making them a part of society and people, not something that was supposed to be left inside closed doors or not be educated or not to be brought out. None of those sort of things existed. One wanted to give them equal rights as way back as that time.
Yeah. So education is key. But when we actually come on to, the basic learnings, when we talk about behavior change, learnings in that aspect, Lakshyaraj, you've also worked with the adolescent girls,
Yes.
Whether it's hygiene, whether it's menstrual hygiene. And unfortunately, in our country, it's still a taboo.
That's
Especially
right.
in a place like Rajasthan, it's even more sensitive. So
That's right.
what have you really seen on ground when you go there, when you speak to the girls? What is the kind of awareness? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Certainly, I think that's a very interesting concept that is being brought out for people to understand, absorb, and learn. And the one reason that I brought up that topic or that particular area was for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is the fact that that is the fifth largest cause of death in women is not being hygienic. And secondly, the fact that the men in the society or the younger boys in society around these girls are the ones that also need to accept the fact that this is a natural phenomena, a natural process that the girls go through. So it's not only about the girls being restricted to a certain area, but it is also making sure that the environment is educated, that is around these girls, who are not criticizing them or considering it to be a taboo, to be able to open the minds. And again, comes back to the previous conversation or the topic that we were discussing about education. So once these sort of things are explained, not only to the girls, but to the boys and to the family members, and more to the elders of the house, because it's predominantly them within closed doors who are badgering these girls and telling them that, this is what they are going through. So that entire process becomes very volatile from that particular process. But if the men around them take a stand, then that kind of makes it okay in that environment. Today, the world has moved forward. We have a lot of facilities available to us today. So underneath that process, we were able to distribute a lot of biodegradable sanitary pads in and around the village areas as well, which made a huge difference. Also, we curtailed the throwing away of all of this in a manner, because it was biodegradable. It would integrate with their surroundings and all of that really well. So is to be able to take that step to making sure that people are absorbing, understanding, and moving forward with it in a holistic manner.
That's so wonderfully put. Thank you so much, Lakshyaraj, for joining us and sharing all this with us.
Thank you so much for having me on.